And welcome to another exciting episode of the Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Tim DLGG. And tonight I'm doing my own sound effects because Agent 70 is running a little late, but he'll be joining us in just a short while. But I am joined by @PCN_Dirt on Twitter.
Yay! Hi, Mom.
Make sure to check his website out, popculturenetwork.com. And while you're checking out websites, go to ours. That's theclicknation.com. Follow the Twitter account for Comic Book Chronicles @CBCron. Like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/theclicknation. Add us to your Google Plus circles. Just search for The Click Nation and join the Click Nation community. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and youtube.com/theclicknation. We are part of the Comic Related and Cold Little Podcasting networks. You can check them out on their respective websites, comicrelated.com and coldlittlepodcast.com. Make sure to use the hashtags CBCron or Comic Book Chronicles to join in the conversation each week, and you may get your tweets read on the air. And we record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're ever at home, feel free to bring us up on your browser or your mobile device and tune into the show live. All right. Let's see what's in the news for this week. Let's see, Roddy Cat has a couple of things highlighted he wants to make sure we get to, and we definitely will. But first, let's see, the Supergirl pilot leaks online 6 months before the TV debut.
Yeah, I went ahead and downloaded it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've got it. Figured why not?
Okay. So after you have watched it, you'll make sure to give us a quick review on it.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to watch it today, but because my computer is dying on me, I can't use my desktop right now, and that's actually where the file is stored, is on one of the external hard drives plugged into that, so I just haven't had the opportunity to get to it.
Understandable.
Yeah, but that was one of the things I was going to do before the show today in order to do homework to be ready, and of course it crapped out on me. So what are you going to do?
Bar you from any more shows.
Yeah, maybe that's what I get for downloading a show. Maybe that's what did it. CBS got me.
Yep. They have your IP address right this moment. All right, let's see what else we got next.
Are you? What? I just want to ask, just out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning on watching it early at all, or are you going to wait?
I'll wait. I waited on the Flash pilot when it leaked, however early that was, a year or so ago. It depends.
Just curious.
It depends if it's like high quality, I may want to see it. But if it's not, I mean, Supergirl, that's something I can wait on.
As far as I can tell, it's the straight up high quality HD TV file that's just been ripped and thrown on the internet. Like, you can download it in, I think, a 400 megabyte MP4, or you can download it in like a 3 gigabyte like MKV or something. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, there's the huge version and then like a normal version.
Okay. I'll give it some thought. George A. Romero's Marvel comic series Empire of the Dead that works for TV. Just like so many other series nowadays. Arrow Arrow's big Harley Quinn plans were shut down by DC.
Because the Suicide Squad movie?
Apparently. That's one of those where not sure if I actually believe that they actually had big plans for Harley Quinn. Because what does she have to do with, I guess because of the Suicide Squad? You basically say DC shut down Arrow's Suicide Squad plans, period. Not just Harley Quinn. But she's the big name, so. Jaden Smith reportedly confirmed for Static Shock series because some other actor was running his mouth and supposedly we're supposed to believe him.
Yeah, I don't know that him talking about it is anything other than he saw the same rumors everyone else did. You know, I don't know if there's any actual confirmation coming out of his comments.
Right. That's what I took from it too. Some people were saying, you know, they both probably might have read for the same part, and since he didn't get it, he assumed Jaden got it. The actor that was spilling the beans was Tyler James Williams from, I guess he's on The Walking Dead, and Everybody Hates Chris. It was, because everyone dies on that show.
That's right.
But I guess he also talked about playing Miles Morales. Robert Rodriguez is going to direct a Johnny Quest movie.
Mm. Wait, did he do Spy Kids?
I think he did, didn't he?
Okay, that would make sense if he was the one.
That was very successful, I heard. I haven't seen one of those movies, but I heard they made like 3 of them.
Yeah, I think my son has seen all 3 of them. He watched them a couple of years ago, but I couldn't tell you anything about them, really.
Oh, okay. Gotham casting for 2 new DC Comics villains for season 2. Nothing really. Let's see what else we got. Brittany Ishibashi joins Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 as Karai.
Sure.
Yeah. Basically, my reaction to it is that. Did you see the Bebop and Rocksteady photos?
Oh, with Sheamus from WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him.
That was funny.
I don't know. It's one of those things where they just look human. There's nothing special about them, but at the same time, it's when they first show up in the comics, you know, they're normal people and they mutate later on. So it's entirely possible that, you know, they show up as humans at the beginning of the movie and then mutate later in the movie and show up in their, you know, more familiar look. So people are kind of freaking out, but there's nothing really to freak out about yet because we don't know for certain that they're just going to look like people through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And besides, it's turtles. Like, everybody claimed to hate turtles anyway, so why do they care?
Yeah. It's like the X-Men movies, which is actually the next story. Bryan Singer reveals Caliban is also an X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They throw a bunch of random mutants in these movies anyway, so add one more to the mix to not do anything. Tilda Swinton reportedly offered key Doctor Strange role. And spoiler alert. Which one is it? She's supposed to be playing the ancient one. Is the rumor. So they're doing a little gender swapping.
Are they?
I guess so.
This is for what show?
Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doctor Strange. I thought you said Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking Doctor Who, and I was like, what? All right.
There's so many doctors nowadays.
Well, it makes a little bit of a difference if you're talking about Doctor Strange or Doctor Who.
Right. Let's see. Transformers Writers Room adds Ant-Man Scribes. Cybertron movie possible, which is I've been talking about Cybertron since the first Transformers movie. It's the obvious move. Eventually, just do a movie on Cybertron.
Yeah, but during what time period?
But then you lose the humans, as if we care. We don't care about the humans.
I don't care about the Transformers franchise. I don't care about those movies.
This is also true.
Yeah. Go back to making the animated where it's good. Stop making these live-action garbage things.
Supposedly, the Cybertron movie might be animated, they were saying. Which I could see because if they did a Cybertron movie, the entire thing would be CGI and probably cost like $500 million to make.
Takes 6 years to program the whole thing.
Yeah. Chris Pine in talks to join Wonder Woman film as possibly Steve Trevor.
Sure.
Okay. Now onto the comic book news. The 2015 Glyph Comics Award winners announced, led by David F. Walker for Shaft. DC to run ads on the same pages as the comics. Okay.
Well, that's something they used to do.
Instead of having the ads be on their own separate page, I guess be on the same page as the artist.
Right. Well, that's what they used to do. Is they would have the page cut in half, and on the top half you'd have story, and then on the bottom half would be, Twinkies or Army Men or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't think it's going to be something where Superman's like, "Boy, I'm hot. Time for a Coca-Cola." I don't think they quite go that far.
If only.
That might make it better.
Yeah. Hey, he's on the run anyway. He looks more of a man of the people. Show him kicking back. Well, I was gonna say show him kicking back a brewski, but I'm sure they don't want to peddle alcohol to the comic book audience.
Well, Jimmy, I'm Kryptonian, so I can't get cancer. That's why I like to have a mild, cool Camel cigarette after every fight with Lex Luthor.
But Superman, I thought your powers aren't working correctly anymore.
Well, they work enough that I'm not going to die like you fools.
Oh, man. I assume this story will matter to you as someone that works in the distribution world. Valiant Entertainment renews distribution deal with Diamond. Is that news?
No, not really. I mean,
okay. I'm gonna say all the big publishers go through Diamond, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. There aren't really any other distributors in the continental United States. I mean, there's some small territorial, but not any place that's, huge coast to coast like Diamond.
This brings up something else I was going to ask you about. I read the story over the weekend or over the week when I was off, and I said I need to ask Dirt about this.
Uh-oh.
It was about the whole Archie Kickstarter fiasco, and I was reading some article on Bleeding Cool where they were interviewing Kaga's comic book store owners and how they were like, we're not gonna order any more Archie comics because they're trying to go around us or whatever. And it just sounded so like whining to me.
I haven't been following anything that's Archie news from the last 2 or 3 years. I just don't follow anymore because they're going insane. So it doesn't surprise me that they would do something stupid, but I don't know exactly what the story is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was mostly it was the Kickstarter, and then they pulled the Well, back when the Kickstarter was going on, they, I guess, had some kind of deals with Walmart and Target, I guess, to sell the books directly through those avenues, and basically going around the comic book stores. So some owners were getting all bent out of shape about it, and we're pulling out orders, and we're not ordering any more Archie comics.
I mean, honestly, it wouldn't make sense for comic book stores to order them if they're going to be doing a deal to ship directly to Walmart and Target, because those places discount the cover price anyway. So if they're going to be selling trades, trades that would be $14.99 through your comic book store would be like $8 at Walmart and $9.99 at Target. So there's no way you could compete with them. So there'd be no reason for you to carry them in your store. As far as like individual issues of comics go, if they're doing a Kickstarter, I would assume then that if it's individual comics, they'd be selling the comics directly to the fans, which is great for a like low budget company that doesn't have a lot of money anyway, and you're trying to raise money to get the comic, printed and in people's hands. That's one thing. But if you're a company like Archie and you're going to sell the books directly to the people, then there's no reason again for the stores to carry it, because with Kickstarter, you're going directly to the people who are buying the book. So you've sold to your market. So then there's no reason for the store to carry the book, because who's going to come in and buy a copy of the book? Everybody who wanted it ordered it on Kickstarter.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I can see what the point is from the retailers from either way. If they're doing individual comics, why would I stock them? Because everybody who wants one has ordered one. And if they're doing trades, if they're going to sell the trades to Target and Walmart, then there's no reason for me to carry the trades, because no one's ever going to come in and go, well, I need to pay an extra $6 to get this Archie trade, so I'll buy it from the local comic store instead of going to Walmart. Everyone's just going to go to Walmart. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see why retailers would be upset about that either way. And it wouldn't make sense for a company like Archie. Why would Archie need to do a Kickstarter?
Yeah. I guess that's basically what the reaction from fans and creators, which is why they ended up pulling the Kickstarter like a couple days after announcing it.
The only thing that Archie is still doing that is in any way relevant anymore is they're still doing the Sonic and Mega Man stuff. And they just started a crossover, actually started this week. That's Mega Man and Sonic and all the Street Fighter characters from Capcom.
Seems like that would have been a IDW thing.
IDW did the Cartoon Network one and all the Cartoon Network cartoons.
Oh, okay.
But what Archie's doing is picking up the video game licenses. So you're getting the characters from Darkstalkers and the characters from Street Fighter and the characters from Mega Man, the characters from Sonic, and they're all doing like this big mashup crossover thing. But see, all of that is outside the normal Archie stuff anyway. Everything that Archie is doing with Archie and Jughead and Afterlife with Archie and, all of that kind of stuff. It's like, except for like the 3 people that have to have everything that's trendy, nobody cares about that stuff anymore,
Okay. DC announces new Bombshells variant covers and digital series by Margaret Bennett and Savage. DC seems to be doing the digital series stuff correctly. I don't read a lot of them, but they seem to be keeping a lot of stuff in the pipeline.
I just don't like how the digital comics, the Marvel Infinite comic. Did you read the X-Men 92 digital comic, by the way?
Not yet.
Okay. Because the DC digitals are done the same way, where you've got the characters on the screen, and then you flip, and the word balloons appear, and then you flip, and the next panel appears with the person reacting, and then you flip, and it goes to the next page. And I don't like that. I just like seeing the whole page at one time, and then I turn the page on the tablet. I have no problem turning pages, and the DC digitals and the Marvel Infinite comics are the same way. So when DC takes those digital comics and then prints them on paper and make them just one static page, then I actually read them. Like the Mortal Kombat one, I tried reading it online. I couldn't stand it, so I just wait for the paper copy to come out, and I read it like a normal comic, because I don't want to sit there and have to tap the screen every time I want a word balloon to show up on the screen,
Yeah, I've read a couple of the Infinite comics from Marvel. I think there was there's one for Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I read, and I think there's a couple more. I go back and forth like on Comixology with the guided view.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use it, sometimes I won't.
I only use it if I'm on my phone, because it's only a little 6-inch screen. So if I'm reading on my phone and everything's tiny, then fine. But as soon as I'm on a tablet, then I don't mess with it anymore. I just read it full page.
Okay. Where am I? Hoopla Digital now lets you check out ebooks and comics for free.
Interesting.
I'm about to open the link here to read about it. This is coming from lifehacker.com. This is one of the stories Roddy wanted to make sure we got to tonight. It says Hoopla Digital, one of our picks for best audiobook services, will now let you check out over 5,500 ebooks and 579 comics for free. All you need is a library card. You can start checking out things with the Hoopla Digital website or download the mobile apps on iOS, Android, or Kindle Fire. I may actually check that out after the show. DC and Warner Bros. Launch kid-friendly sites with free Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, and Justice League comics. Good for them. I've always said that at least the bigger companies need to do a little more focus on more kid-friendly stuff. Not sure if there's actually money in it or not.
I will say that the Scooby-Doo team up has actually been a really good comic. And that's one where, like, they'll do Scooby-Doo and Batman. They did Scooby-Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters. They did Scooby-Doo and Johnny Quest. We just placed orders, I think, for July that have Scooby-Doo and Secret Squirrel from that old cartoon.
Okay.
So, the Scooby-Doo team-up is actually a great one because that's one my kids will read, because it's Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo's on TV right now. But then I can go back through and I'll read it because, I grew up with Secret Squirrel. I grew up with Johnny Quest. I grew up with the Harlem Globetrotters showing up in every cartoon on Saturday morning, So that's a good one that plays across both ages.
Got some tweets from folks watching the show tonight. Shout out some of our peoples. At Matt Wang 97. He said he was happy to see Caliban come back in Master of Kung Fu, discussing Caliban from the X-Men Apocalypse movie earlier. Roddy Cat says, I suspect Caliban may be a horseman since Apocalypse is involved. Good guess there. And Matt Wang also says, guided view is so much easier than reading a PDF on my phone. So he agrees.
Well, which is true that when you're on a phone with a small screen, but get a phablet. Get one of those giant tablet phones.
During my vacation, I went to Universal Studios, and that might have been the most I've seen iPhone 6s and 6 Pluses in my life. Just people holding these gigantic phones in their hands. That and selfie sticks.
Yeah.
So many selfie sticks.
Well, I've got an LG Optimus G Pro something, I don't know. But it's a 6 inch or 6.5 inch, whatever. It's the same size as like the Galaxy Note, and I think the 6 Plus iPhone. So, I mean, it's a big enough screen that if I wanted to, I probably could read full page, but it's a phone, so I just usually put it in guided view and not worry about it that much.
Okay. Neat info on Marvel Comics. There's a search tool for that. I have no idea what this is about, but I'll read about it after the show. Let's see. Let me actually click on the link. Let's see what they're talking about. /gear.com has info on that. I was about to say, can't you just use Google? Something called iMarvel.
It's like a website?
I guess so. iMarvel's interface is sparse and minimal, a nod to Google's own Bear search engine. I type in a query for a character or a particular comics line. Unfortunately, you can't yet do both at the same time, and you will get what you are looking for. Okay, whatever. Just use Google. Marvel
Don't
teases.
use Bing.
Yeah. Marvel teases 8 months later. Grumpy Cat to star in her own comic book series from Dynamite.
I didn't know the Grumpy Cat was a female.
I didn't know that either. I'm just reading.
I mean, I guess I never
script.
really thought about it one way or another. I guess
Never gave her that much thought. Ed Piskor's Hip Hop Family Tree to drop monthly. That's one of the favorites of the show. So we'll be checking that out. And Brian Bendis to announce his new Marvel comic at Special Edition New York City, which is apparently next week. I did not know that.
And who is it with? Is it an Image book? Is it a Marvel book?
It's a Marvel book.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the post-Secret War stuff is supposed to be. I'm trying to bring up, podcast promos. That's what I was looking for. Let's see, Variant Corner. Brian Hitch's variant covers for Justice League of America #1 revealed. Dark Horse Comics announces Ultra variant cover for Fight Club 2 #2. And J. Scott Campbell's Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows variant cover revealed. And now I'm trying to bring up the ads to read, but let's see. Ads.
Update from Agent 70. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it tonight.
So we do have his click of the week, so he will not be forgotten.
Yeah.
We applaud in his honor. And now we have a new ad to read this week. A new sponsor of the show, Skull Candy. Skull Candy makes the best headphones, earbuds, and gaming headsets, all with lifetime warranties. Skull Candy produces many types of audio accessories, including headphones, sports earbuds, Xbox gaming headsets, PlayStation gaming headsets, DJ headphones, iPod headphones, and MP3 headphones. And now for the listeners of Comic Book Chronicles, Skull Candy offers free standard shipping on your order. To help keep our podcast free, order from Skull Candy by going to codesofthepodcast.com. That's codesofthepodcast.com, then clicking on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Skull Candy banner and then shop for high-quality audio accessories with free standard shipping. And what do you... yes, that's a good comic to start with this week.
Is it?
Since it's the conclusion of a big mega event, yes. Whether or not it was good or not remains to be seen.
Here, ding the spoiler bell. All right. So the original multiverse is back. Basically, they went back. They sent a bunch of guys back in time to the original Crisis, and they restored the original multiverse. So all the universes that existed before Crisis now re-exist or still exist. They have just evolved further in time. The problem is they didn't show any of this. They just have a bunch of the characters going back to Crisis, and they have Hal Jordan Parallax going, well, hey, I want to go back with them too. And so he does. And then they go, hey, they did it. The multiverse is back. Yay. And then you just have the Earth 2 guys going back, and suddenly their planet is back. Hey, your planet exists now. Yay. And then they go back to Earth 2 to colonize the planet, and that's it. The end.
I'm about to open this now just so I can see like because then they have a couple like group shots of like all the different people.
Yeah, they had two-page spreads where they show all these different Earths, and they show the old characters like sitting in the background and the new characters jumping out of the planet. So you can see like
how's it new characters jumping out? If
well, it's like
if they're from the past, aren't they all old?
Well, no, the idea is that those universes didn't die in 1985, so the universe is still evolved over the last 30 years. So, like, they show the old Charlton universe that was Question, Blue Beetle, and Captain Atom. And so Blue Beetle is now a little older. Question, you can't really tell who it is. And Captain Atom now looks like Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen, because that's technically where those characters from Watchmen came from. So it's like you see the old characters standing behind the Earth, and then the newer versions of them like flying out of the planet.
So what about the pre-Flashpoint universe? There wouldn't be much aging with them, right?
Well, what they show is like the original, like classic Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman standing there, but then the Flashpoint versions of the characters coming out of it. Like somehow,
okay,
that's like the evolution of the original DC universe is what the Flashpoint universe is now. So I don't know if that changes anything going forward in the New 52 or what, but that's what they did with those guys.
The whole multiverse and whatnot was always one of the main reasons I never enjoyed DC Comics, because it seemed very convoluted and confusing to a new reader.
But that's been the whole point of the whole Secret Wars and everything that Jonathan Hickman's been doing for the last 2 years.
Every time, this doesn't make sense, I know, but that's how it works in my mind. I guess because I've been reading Marvel my whole life. And like another way someone describes it to me is like, it's no different than multiple alternate futures, which is something Marvel loves to do.
Right.
So like alternate futures, that makes sense to me. The multiverse stuff doesn't.
Well, here, let me try to explain it to you this way. If you take Tim Burton's Batman with Michael Keaton, and you take Christopher Nolan's Batman with Christian Bale, those are both Batman. They're both Bruce Wayne. They're both Gotham City, but they're two completely different versions of the characters, right?
Right.
So the idea is that both of those characters exist in their own universe. And if you go to one universe, you're going to see Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer and Jack Nicholson. And if you go to the other universe, you're going to see Christian Bale and you're going to see somebody else, and you're going to see Heath Ledger. I can't think of any other actors right now. But the point being is that they both exist, because you can see them both. You know that they're both there, but they're both different from each other. And that's the idea with the DC multiverse, is that, you had a version of Superman in the late 30s, early 40s that he couldn't fly. He could just jump over buildings. He could deflect bullets, but he would also, if there was some guy making poison gas, he might lock the guy in his own room with the poison gas and leave him there to die, which is a completely different Superman than the Superman we have now, because times have changed. So the idea is that old version still exists somewhere in the multiverse, and that Superman could meet with the Superman we have now. They just say that it's a different dimension. It's a different parallel universe where that other version exists.
Yeah, I will admit, as I've gotten older and more comic book wise, it makes more sense now. So since you're more of the seasoned DC guy, what's your thoughts on the multiverse being, I guess, available? Is that the correct term?
I mean, yeah, I like the idea, but I like the idea enough that I didn't like how this series ended, because as far as I'm concerned, when Hal Jordan says, "Hey, I'm going to go back to the Crisis and see what I can do to, stop all this stuff from happening," that's the meat of the story. Like, that's what I want to see. And they just kind of have them leave off one panel, and then you turn the page and they're like, "Yay, they did it." It's like, what? Well, where? Like, how? When? Like, what happened? Like, that's the part I wanted to see. Like, if this is an 8-issue story, Hal Jordan going back to fix the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, that should have been like issue 4, maybe issue 5. And then you give me 2 or 3 issues of showing them in that time period and fighting with all those characters and everything. And then you give me that last issue where they're, showing all the different universes and all the different characters and how they've changed over the years and whatever. So it's like, I love the idea. I love the concept, but the way that they executed here, I felt kind of ripped off, because that's the part I want to see,
Got the page up with some of these the 2-page spreads and whatnot. What universe or alternate reality is it where Superboy, he's got the leather jacket, and I see Impulse and Kyle Rayner. Isn't that just one of the regular universes?
That was right before 0 Hour. So that's the 0 Hour time period. So that was after Crisis. That was the time period where Superman died, fought Doomsday and died, and then there were the 4 Supermen running around. You had Steel, you had the Cyborg.
That wasn't all part. See, I consider that just like part of the regular DC universe anyway.
Well, see, that's the universe that rebooted in 1985. So 1985, 1985, 1986 is when DC started over from scratch.
Oh, after Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Right.
Okay.
And so that was that universe basically going from 85 to 93, 94, whatever it was.
See, I'm trying to learn. Let's see. I'm only going to point out the ones that actually like make sense to me here.
That was also the era of the Wally West Flash.
Oh, okay. And then like the older version is Superman cape with Sans cape. So I guess this other world that has a Supergirl and a Batwoman, and then like an Aqua Girl, Batgirl, and Supergirl is like some alternate world where the heroes are all women.
Here, I'm trying to pull up my copy here.
Page 17 on ours.
Yeah, that was that in the World's Finest, maybe?
Okay.
Where's the female versions? Yeah.
And you said the one in the middle of the Trinity is the pre-Flashpoint, and then post-Flashpoint, or New 52, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the word. Let's see. Whoops, let me go back one. Okay, yeah, because Cyborg.
And see, some of these are Elseworlds. You've got the Pirate Batman one. That was an Elseworld story.
Okay.
You've got one that was the Old West. So you can see it's Hawkman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and I think it was Guy Gardner.
Oh, that's
Old West characters. That was an Elseworlds. You've got an Elseworlds down in the opposite corner where it's Green Lantern, Batman. You've got Aquaman, Flash. You've got Martian Manhunter, Superman. That was another one. You've got a Bizarro world where it's the actual square planet and the Bizarro versions of all the superheroes. And then if you turn the page, then you've got the big Earth 2, which is the Justice Society at the top. And then at the bottom is the new Earth 2 characters from World's End that will be going forward in the Earth 2 Society series. You've got Captain Carrot and his amazing Zoo Crew, which was a 20-issue series in the mid-'80s. And so you've got the original versions in the back, updated versions of them in the front. The one down here in the bottom left corner is, I believe that's supposed to be the Earth Prime universe. And the reason why all of those just look like regular people standing around was because those were supposed to be people in our world, in the real world. And I recognize one of the guys down in the bottom corner is Mike Carlin, who used to be the editor of the Superman books. And there used to be this joke in the Superman comics where Earth Prime was our universe where there are no superheroes. And then they would write the stories of the superheroes that were happening in the DC universe. And every so often the characters would like bleed over and come into the real world. And so you had one superhero guy in that world. Back on the top of the next page, you've got the
Crime Syndicate, right?
Crime Syndicate. Yeah, you've got the original Earth 3 guys at the top and then the new versions that showed up in the New 52 underneath it. Next to them, that's the old Charlton Comics universe. Peacekeeper, Blue Beetle, Captain Atom, Question, and that female character whose name I can't remember. Those guys were the basis of the Watchmen.
So Blue Beetle originated from there, huh?
Yeah. And he was Night Owl in the Watchmen. Question was Rorschach in the Watchmen. Peacekeeper was Comedian. Captain Atom was Dr. Manhattan. And so now you can see the updated versions of them. Captain Atom looks like Dr. Manhattan now in that version of the universe. Underneath them were the Freedom Fighters. That was the universe. That was another comic book company. I can't remember what their name was, but they came up with Uncle Sam and Plastic Man and those guys, and they DC bought them out and turned them into another parallel universe. The Atomic Knights, I think, are the guys underneath that, where you've got the kung fu looking guy and then a bunch of guys in suits of armor behind him, and they apparently have updated to this kind of mechanized DC universe. And then down in the bottom corner is the Kirbyverse, Jack Kirby characters, OMAC and Commandy. I'm trying to remember who the other guy is back there, but those are all Jack Kirby characters that he created in the 70s and 80s when he left Marvel and came to DC. So those are his characters. So there you see all of these different universes that existed before Crisis on Infinite Earths. Most of them were wiped out. A couple of them, from the Elseworld story, apparently they exist now. But it's just the idea that these are, I love the idea of all these characters, and I love the idea of having stories with them on these different worlds, but it's just, the page before, you have everybody going back in time, and then you turn the page and it goes, they've done it. Reality is resetting. It's like, okay, well, can I see part of that story? Because I care about that 100 times more than I care about these stupid Earth 2 rejects who lost their planet, and now the planet's going to rebuild themselves, and they're going to go back to their Earth. Like, I don't care. Tell me the other stuff. So, Anyway, I would, again, if I'm going just on concept alone of the story, the way it worked itself out towards the end, I was really happy with the concept of it, but the execution where you're just following the Earth 2 characters for a long time, and then finally everyone else shows up, and then the universe just resets. It was so poorly executed that I'm just really kind of upset with the way it ended.
Okay.
Did you read any of the crossover books this week?
From Convergence?
Yeah.
I haven't read any of them.
At all, period?
I read the first issue of Shazam. But like I said, since a lot of this made no sense to me, it was for my own good just to stay away from it.
I liked the Detective Comics, but mostly because it was Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz doing the artwork. As far as the actual story goes, it really kind of plays itself out where Robin and Huntress are just jerks, and Soviet Superman is actually a nice guy. And so it was a reversal on the characters, but again, like everything else, they decide they're going to work together. They're going to try to find a solution, whatever, and then the story ends because of whatever else is going on in Convergence. So nothing really happens. Didn't read Justice Society. I didn't read Shazam. Didn't read Plastic Man. Crime Syndicate I read.
I heard that is it smart to read the Booster Gold before reading the Convergence issue?
Okay, here's the thing. Yes and no. Yes, because it sets up certain characters that appear in Convergence 8. The problem is it contradicts what happens in 8 a little bit. So it was like, I think it was Jeff King wrote this issue of Convergence, and Dan Jurgens wrote the Booster Gold. And it's almost like they sat down at one point several months ago and said, hey, let's do this and this and this. And they said, okay. And then they went their separate ways. And they kind of forgot what they said to each other, but they remembered like one or two, characters that they were going to do something with, but they couldn't really remember what exactly they were doing. And so Booster Gold ends with Booster Gold changing and heading off to Convergence. But then in Convergence, when the character appears, it's not Booster Gold. Like they forgot that Booster Gold changed, when he was coming. So, and then he also shows up with a couple characters in Convergence, where at the end of Booster Gold, he sent those characters away so that they would be safe. So it like set itself up to be a direct lead-in to Convergence 8, but then the writers forgot what they had set themselves up for, and so it just doesn't work. It contradicts itself, which is really kind of sad because it was a neat setup, but it just didn't play out right. It'd be kind of like if you had an Avengers book where the X-Men were going to appear, and so in the X-Men book you had Storm and Wolverine and Beast saying, hey, we're going to go off and meet these guys. And then in the Avengers book, you have Wolverine, you have Storm with the Mohawk, and you have Colossus show up as the three guys. It's like you've got a different version of Storm. You've got a completely different third character. I mean, that's basically what happens in between Booster Gold and Convergence. They just forgot what they were supposed to be doing there. So,
oops.
Yeah. The only other one that really kind of ties in the same way is Blue Beetle, just because Blue Beetle and Booster Gold have a history. And so there's a little bit of talk about those characters, but it's not really very big. This is, again, one that I enjoyed more just because I liked those original characters from the Charlton Publishing Company before DC bought them out. So that was just for nostalgia purposes, but you don't really have to read it for Convergence. Like Booster Gold, you almost kind of need to, except for the fact that they forgot that that's what they were doing. So you really don't. So for Convergence, most of these are, again, just, the last issue was, hey, where have you been for the last year? And then this issue was, okay, now we're going to fight. Oh, now the fight's over. And that's it. So most of these are worthless.
As far as the ending of Convergence and the multiverse being open again, I do like the potential that I guess creators will be able to pitch whatever story from whatever time period they want, and if it's something DC sounds like they'll like, they can publish it, and so you can basically get a wide range of stories to choose and pick from.
Well, like one thing I always enjoyed, this version of Robin. This was in the Detective Comics. This version of Robin is the grown-up version of Batman's sidekick. And Batman, in this universe, Batman had died. Like, he actually got older. He actually died. And so Robin takes his place, basically, as Batman. And he does it not by becoming Batman, but making more of a Batman-styled look to his Robin costume. And then he falls in love with Huntress, and Huntress is actually the daughter of Bruce Wayne and Catwoman. And so it allows them to kind of play with the mythology and do things like you can't just kill off Batman in the regular DC universe and just not have a Batman, but you can have a parallel universe, an Earth 2, where you kill off that Batman, and then what does the universe do without Batman? Because he was a key component of the superhero structure, and he's not there anymore. So it allowed them to do some of those type stories, and because it was in a parallel universe, they would do something with it, and then they would ignore it for 2 or 3 years, and then they go back to it so you could see how the characters had developed. So the universe had a history, and it would grow and it would change over the course of time, and they were just allowed to play with it in ways that they couldn't play with the regular DC universe. So I always enjoyed that aspect of the multiverse and doing all the crossovers and that kind of stuff. So anyway.
All right. Let's see. I guess we can either stay on DC stuff and get into some of the 8-page previews, or hop around a little bit. So I guess this is the final week of the 8-page previews, because I guess next week will be June and all the new stuff starts, right?
Yeah, some of the books will actually be coming out next week.
Let's stay on DC for a change. I read Justice League United 8-page preview. Do you actually have?
I don't have those in here because these are just the covers of the books that came out this week.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But so this was somewhat interesting because it's taken sort of some of the characters and basis of the previous Justice League Unlimited, Adam and Alana Strange, Equinox, Supergirl, and Animal Man, except they're expanding the roster, and it actually kind of ties a lot into Convergence because they're supposedly going around investigating some of the anomalies created from the Convergence. And it's sort of a all hands on deck type of scenario, very reminiscent of Justice League Unlimited cartoon show.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't the preview show like basically every character that's not in another team book right now is being part of the crew that can be called up for Justice League United?
They even had people who are members of other teams, because they had Beast Boy, who's in Teen Titans, and he's actually the only one that jumps to mind right now. But yeah, there was a lot of definitely a lot of people who aren't in groups or team books right now, or starring in a solo series either. So I'm wondering if they are doing the Justice League United or Unlimited route of every story arc will have a rotating cast of characters.
Well, that's fine with me if they do. I like that idea.
Yeah. Besides the main 4 or 5 I named earlier from the previous run.
Yeah.
So, Cyborg showed him battling some people who said that he was stealing the armor he's using, and he was in battle with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam, and he was, spoiler alert, he was killed.
Someone breaking into your house? What's going on?
I guess I know they can't. I guess these dogs have good hearing.
They heard the doorbell on your computer?
Yeah. So I probably won't be doing that anymore tonight. Yeah, so I got my headset on and they can still hear it, even though they're in the other room. They're actually at the front door. Anyway, so Cyborg dies, but he gets regenerated and gets basically a whole new body parts that look more human.
Yeah.
So his armor changed during Forever Evil, and now it's about to change once again, where he looks he's losing more. He's losing more and more of his machine parts.
Yeah, and the thing is, I really liked what they changed his look into, because it really looked like a powerful suit of armor, and it also gave him a chest emblem. It gave him that gear in the shape of a C, for Cyborg, which is one of those things that you can put on a T-shirt, you can put on underoos, you can put on a Halloween costume, just like the Batman logo, like the Wonder Woman eagle W's, the Superman logo, the Shazam lightning bolt, the Flash bolt, the Green Lantern logo. It's like they finally made Cyborg one of those iconic characters and gave him that logo, and now they're tearing it away from him and just making him look like I don't know, the new RoboCop. Like, I don't know.
I like the previous armor he had. It was sleek, and had a nice design to it.
Yeah, I thought the Forever Evil armor looked really good, but for whatever reason, they've just decided they've got to change it again. So I don't know. We'll see.
And what else did I read? We Are Robin, which I guess introduced some of the various Robins that we'll see throughout the series. They communicate via mobile devices, just as kids do, and they're like setting up stings to stop, drug dealers or these criminals on the streets. So it reminded me a lot of the Batgirl redesign of, for her series. There's a lot of like word balloons in the form of, text messages and stuff like that, and people going by their social network handle instead of their real name. So I'll have to give that a little more time as the series comes out to see just how much I enjoy it or not. Constantine the Hellblazer, it was all right. I'll be sticking around for this for Riley Rossimo's art.
Did you read the old Hellblazer?
I've never read a Hellblazer comic. You?
For a while, I read the Vertigo Mature Readers series, but I didn't really read it when they relaunched it in the New 52. And this version, again, I'm probably not going to read. I don't really care. So, pass.
Yeah. And the last one I read was Earth 2 Society, which, of course, spins out of Convergence. I'll be reading this just for Jorge Jimenez's art.
I tried reading this, and I got about 3 pages into it, and just said, nope, can't do it, can't take it.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I went through the spoiler ring here, but I can't do that anymore. The 8-page preview takes place a year after they set up their new society on their new planet, and it seems like the heroes that were once on the same side are now have split sides. Sides are being taken, and they're warring against one another. And some character called Dr. Impossible was shown at the end, who I had no idea who it was until I read an article today who said it was Jimmy Olsen. Seems like just a lot of stuff happening.
I don't know. Part of my whole thing is I don't really get the whole Alan Scott Green Lantern swamp thing that was going on.
I wouldn't have thought that right away, but I mean, I guess his power is green, so have him be the Avatar green kind of makes sense.
Maybe. That's like saying Red Hood wears red, so they should make him the Avatar of the Red.
Exactly.
And then make him a Red Lantern while they're at it.
Flash is red. Red Lantern. Did you read any of the other 8 pages that you want to talk about?
I don't even remember what they were at this point.
You want me to spit them out for you, or?
Hey, just list them real quick.
Yeah, let me pull them on the iPad here.
I thought maybe you had them right there.
Well, yeah, I do. Superman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Robin, son of Batman.
Okay, well, Superman, it was the same story that they had in the Free Comic Book Day.
Oh,
so
okay.
In the Free Comic Book Day Divergence book was that same 8-page story that you see here. So I read that back when that came out for Free Comic Book Day, and I like it. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting take on the character and the fact that he has no secret identity anymore. So that, of course, changes a lot. So
Sinestro, new Suicide Squad, and some of these might bleed over to last week because I have them all on my iPad here. Martian Manhunter and Lobo.
Martian Manhunter, I'm interested in. I've always thought he was a character that had a lot more potential than anyone ever really did anything with him. So I'm actually, I read that one, but I think that was last week. But yeah, I read that one. I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay, interesting. I wish they had a different artist on it, just because at least in the solicits it has Eddie Barrows on it. It just seems like he's been around DC stuff forever.
What else has he done?
He did a bunch of the Teen Titans, and it's like he's always on Teen Titans and Superman books, filling in art. Oh, he also did Nightwing back when Kyle Higgins was.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just, I don't know. It's like one of the. It's like he's just been around for a while. And when I
he's
say
like the Nolan Ryan of drawing comics. He's done it for a long time. But
a DC New 52 comic, put it that way. Yeah. Justice League, was that the 8-page or 2 from Free Comic Book Day?
Was that the one with the? It starts with the little baby being born.
Well, I know that's what it was. I know that's what it was in the 8-page in the Free Comic Book Day, but I'm not sure what it is in the 8-pager. Flash, you said you didn't like.
It's just the art, man. Brett Booth. I mean, come on.
I guess
you like him.
Yeah, I like him, and actually, he would fit in the Eddie Barrows, I guess, category too. Just like, he's been around DC stuff for a while.
Yeah, but his style is just so. I don't know. He doesn't like 90-degree angles on anything. So everything has to be like some weird skew angle, and all the boxes are all like these weird parallelograms.
I will mention that people seem to have weird, like their mouths are always doing something weird, like these weird Joker grins. Everyone has weird Joker grins,
or it looks like they're yelling.
Yeah.
And everybody always has tiny little eyebrows. Like everybody sits there and plucks their eyebrows.
Matt Wang says John Ostrander and Mandrake's Manhunter series was pretty decent. Finally, Gotham Academy, Black Canary, you weren't crazy about, Batgirl, and Batman.
Yeah, the Black Canary is basically Batgirl. I mean, it's just an extension of that. So if you like Batgirl, you're going to like Black Canary. If you don't like Batgirl, you're not going to like Black Canary. The end. That's it.
And final thought, I do like the logo for Cyborg on the actual
for the book.
Yeah, the book. That's a cool logo.
All right, you ready for Marvel?
Yep. I reviewed Old Man Logan, #1 on theclicknation.com and popculturenetwork.com. I can't do the bell, but ding ding. Close that actually before I actually do something with it.
I read it. It was interesting. Yeah.
It didn't really jump out at me as like, wow, this was great, but I mean, it wasn't bad either. It didn't get good. It didn't get good to me until the thing fell out the sky.
Yeah.
And then the mission. the mission started.
Because the thing I don't understand is on Battle World, some characters seem to understand that they're in this hodgepodge planet of kingdoms that's all overseen by Doom, and other characters just remember their universe, the world in which they live, and they don't know that there's any sort of change out there beyond that. And I can't seem to figure out like what the rules are for who knows where they are and who doesn't, you know?
Right. And I think with just the premise of Secret Wars, they left it up to the creators to either jump head first into the Secret Wars stuff, or just tell a separate story that is loosely tied to Secret Wars. Basically, like Secret Wars was an excuse for them to go back and tell this out of continuity story.
Right. Well, and I don't know if the argument is supposed to be that Old Man Logan is really written like an old Western book, even though it's futuristic. It's a dystopian future where society is broken down and most people live, the way the cowboys did, back in the old days. And that was the idea of what it was supposed to be, was like an old Western. And so I don't know if the argument is supposed to be that their society is so broken down that no one travels outside of the small community where they live, so no one knows that they're on this world, as opposed to other characters that can fly, that, have TV cameras, that can do magic, that can look, everywhere and know what's going on. So I don't know if that's the excuse, but it just seems like it's a very confusing setup as to who knows what's going on in the universe and who doesn't. And I just wish there was some sort of like rule of thumb or some sort of actual reason as to why the things are the way they are, instead of just you're going to grab a random book and maybe they know about each other, maybe they don't. We'll just have to wait and see, But I did like the way that they went back to the characters. I thought the artwork really fit, the mood and the tone of the book. I liked the idea of the piece that fell out of the sky and now he's got to figure out where it came from, why it's there, So all of that stuff I thought made for an intriguing story. I don't really feel like it's going to be a big part of Secret Wars. Like it actually, is playing a part of the main series.
See, I think it is just because it's Bendis doing it. And I think there's been like teases and interviews of like, Old Man Logan's very important to the post Secret Wars fallout or whatever.
Maybe that's how they bring Wolverine back to the Marvel Universe, is Old Man Logan.
That's what I was thinking.
And then in a few years, Apocalypse will grab him and put some magic juice on him and he'll de-age back to the young Logan. I don't know.
But, and I could have, the girl in the book, is that the same one from the miniseries? Because I could have swore that was like Hawkeye's daughter, right?
I thought. Well, you mean the one in this book or the one in Old Man Logan?
Like the girl that's with that is helping Logan.
I thought that the girl that was with him now had something to do with the Hulk family.
Cause see, I was thinking.
I don't remember. Yeah.
I actually got that at the original Old Man Logan as a Christmas gift 2 Christmases ago. But in that one, he like his not, I won't say sidekick, but wasn't that like the one in the Spider-Man suit? Wasn't that, I think it was Hawkeye's daughter? I thought. Well, Hawkeye actually was in it. Oh,
yeah.
See,
because he and Hawkeye took the road trip across country. So, but I haven't read it since it came out. Like
actually, it might have been. I guess it probably was Spider-Man's offspring since she was wearing a Spider-Man suit. But then all I know is the girl in this Secret Wars book was Danielle Cage, I guess, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah. Because he called her Danielle, and then they showed a picture of like her as a baby and Luke Cage and Jessica holding her.
Oh, see, I didn't know that's who that was. So
yeah, which confused me. I'm probably getting it wrong, and that's probably the same girl that was in the original miniseries, but I could swear it wasn't.
Yeah, like I said, I read them when they were in the original Wolverine. You know, it was like 71 through 74, and then they did the Old Man Logan special that was supposed to be Wolverine 75, but it got delayed so long. I remember that about it, but I don't really remember that much about the original story. So that could also be something that, because it's Battle World, the time, may be a little different. Who knows?
Okay. Let's see. Inferno #1. I thought this was all right.
Yeah, I actually read this one too.
I like the nods, but I like the nods back to Cable and X-Force, which Dennis Hopeless also wrote.
I thought that Scott Summers came across exactly like totally channeling what had happened to him in the regular Marvel universe. They just kind of did it not to the same extent, but they turned him into that hard-headed, Professor X is gone, he's taken his place, he's really kind of a jerk. They wanted to play off that storyline a little bit, but the overall thing about Colossus and trying to save his sister and the yearly pilgrimage to get her, I thought all of that was pretty good.
But it the Cyclops' take on it actually makes sense. Like, why are we doing this every year? Just to die.
Yeah, but I mean, if your world's overrun by demons, what do you have to live for?
but also,
it was fun.
Also planning it on the same day each year. That kind of like,
yeah, like they know something's up.
Yeah. All right. Infinity Gauntlet #1 I enjoyed a lot. I just thought it was cool to see a family dynamic in a superhero book, which I guess I could read Fantastic Four and get that, but I just don't like Fantastic Four.
Now, I didn't read this, so does this have anything to do with Adam Warlock and the old Infinity Gauntlet storyline, or is it just the fact of Thanos and having the gems on his glove?
The latter.
Okay. Because I wondered if they were going to bring Adam Warlock back to the Marvel Universe, if this was going to do that.
And I guess technically they could in future issues, but as of right now, no.
So how does this... I see Novas, I see Star-Lord, I see Thanos, I see outer space. How does outer space play into Battle World?
I think we're going to find out more on that in this series and the Guardians of Nowhere series from Bendis also. So yeah, which I'm also wondering, like, the object that fell out the sky in Old Man Logan, like, is that going to be... does that have anything to do with Guardians of Nowhere also? Because as far as we know, the thing that fell out the sky shouldn't have fallen out the sky because it's in another part of Battle World, unless it fell out the sky somehow.
See, now I need the map. I need that map back because I don't know if the Old Man Logan world is right up against the wall. That separates.
It might. Well, I thought the shield is at the bottom. Or is the shield and the wall different? Or are they the same? Because in Old Man Logan he references the wall,
and he goes to climb it at the end.
Yeah, it can't be the shield, because the shield actually. It's a good point you brought up the map, because I actually looked at it at work today because I've just like lifted up in a tab on my work computer, and the Wastelands is in the eastern part of the map, and it comes up against a piece of the map that I can't think of right now. It's one of the pieces that's on the right and the east and west coast. So I guess it like wraps around. But I remember the shield and the shield and whatever you call it, the Deadlands, wherever the Ultrons and the zombies are at, they're at the bottom of the map,
right?
South. So yeah, the wall must be something different.
Well, let's see here. What is the name of where Old Man Logan is? Is that?
It's the Wastelands.
Okay. Well, there is the wall. The wall is just called the wall.
Oh, so you do see the wall?
Yeah, the wall is just listed as the wall. I don't. Oh, there's the Wastelands. Number 31. All right, let's see here. Where's number 31 on my map? Oh gosh, this is okay. Here, let me do this. Screen share. Share this. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. There's the wall.
Is that the wall or is that the shield?
The wall. Number 41. 41 right here. That's the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the wall.
So where's the shield?
The Wastelands. The Wastelands is
31.
Here's 31 right here. So the Wastelands are actually north of the wall. There's something in between. So 37, whatever 37 is in between the wall and the Wastelands.
So I guess it wouldn't.
37 is Limbo. So Limbo is this land in between the wall and the Wastelands.
And we know that the Wolverine that appeared in the Secret Wars Battle World, I guess, anthology book that was part of the new Fantastic Four that went to hunt Doctor Strange, Punisher combination. The Doctor Strange entity left Punisher after he got killed and is now inside the Limbo Wolverine. Not that this has anything to do with Old Man Logan, but since it's Wolverine, I thought I'd just bring it up anyway. Okay. So is the shield, do you see the shield anywhere on the map?
Greenland, oh yeah, Wars. No.
Okay.
So maybe the shield is the wall. They just.
I think it is, because below the shield is what is that the zombie stuff?
Yeah, that's the Deadlands.
Yeah, Deadlands they call it.
Deadlands, Perfection, and New Xandar.
Yeah, Perfection is the Ultron.
Deadlands is the
region.
zombies. New Xandar. I'm not sure what that is.
That New Xandar, that's the Infinity Gauntlet series, I believe.
That's Infinity Gauntlet?
I think so. Can't think of anything else they would be. Okay.
All right. Well, anyway.
So
back to Infinity Gauntlet for a second. Is it worth reading or not?
I liked it because, like I said, the family dynamic. Oh, and I guess to quickly explain what it's about. It's a family, a girl, her name, I guess you pronounce it Anwin, her sister, her dad, their dog, and their grandfather, who is the dad's father-in-law. They're like in this basically like war zone type post-apocalyptic world, trying to survive, and there's like these bugs, alien bugs that they're trying to keep away from, and the mother is missing, and she's part of Nova Corps. She went off into space to fight the alien bugs, and of course left the family there, and now the bugs are showing up on Earth / Battle World / this region. It's a lot of funny stuff with the family, like, you know, family bickering and arguing with one another. Like the dad and the and his father-in-law start arguing at one point, and the main character Anwin like yells at both of them to shut up because the bugs are about to attack them, and like both of them like spin around like, and both of them basically say at the same time like, "Don't you yell at your father like that," or "Don't you yell at your grandfather like that." They both say, which was kind of cute. And at the end, the Nova mom shows up at the end, and then we also see Thanos lurking in the shadows because Anwin I think finds an Infinity Stone or gem. No, it's like they don't call it gem. They call it stones like the movies.
All right.
So, I am worried. It's co-written by Jerry Duggan and Dustin Weaver with art by Dustin Weaver, and I believe like the August solicits just has Dustin Weaver as the writer and artist. I'm hoping I still enjoy it once it gets to that point because I wasn't crazy about his Edge of Spider-Verse Spider-Man little one shot he did. It felt very wordy. So.
Okay.
And
well, we'll see.
The only other thing I read from Marvel was where is it? Secret Wars 2099, and I probably won't be keeping up with it. I don't know what it is. I'm not crazy about Will Slaney's art. For some reason, I liked it in the Fearless Defenders, but I don't know what. Like once he took over Spider-Man 2099, it's like the art. Everyone looks too wooden and like mannequin. Everyone seems like a mannequin. I don't know if it's like a digital art style or is the coloring on it. It's just not, doesn't vibe with me. I did like some of the stuff he was doing with the Avengers cast here, but it like going back to how some books reference Secret Wars and some don't. This doesn't really do anything with the Secret Wars gimmick. It's just like future Avengers and sort of loosely tied to the Spider-Man 2099 gimmick. So.
All right. Well, let's see. What else is on here? I read the Secret Wars journal, and it's really just Hawkeye Kate and I'm trying to think who the other character was. It was 2 stories. So the first half of the book was Hawkeye Kate, and the other half was Moon Knight. And it's just if you care about those characters and just want to read random stories of them in an alternate timeline, alternate universe, just to see how different the things are, then you can do that. But it was it just really feels like this is a book of filler material. It was like, hey, let's get another book out there. Everybody pick some random character who's not the focus of another Secret Wars, Battle World book, whatever, and we'll just randomly find some way to throw them in there. So, if you've got a favorite B-lister, they're probably going to show up here at some point, getting their own half-issue focus. But it just really, I don't care enough. Like the only reason why I know Hawkeye Kate is because I read Hawkeye and All New Hawkeye, so I see the character there. I don't care enough about the character to see them in an alternate universe.
Did that come out this week? Yes, it did.
Yep. Even had one of these awesome action figure variants. So anyway, I read Black Widow, and this, I don't know. Is this series over? Like, I didn't know that this series was supposed to be ending, but that's really what this issue feels like.
It's not ending yet because they're going to do Last Days tie-ins.
Okay. Well, because this is really like the final issue is what it feels like. She walks away from a lot of the stuff that's going in her life and starts a new life that is calm and not an assassin and kind of sails off into the sunset. And so this, if you've been reading it, you might as well read this to see how it all ends, but really nothing. She leaves S.H.I.E.L.D., she goes back to the Avengers. There's your spoiler. That's what happens. And that's what it's a lot of talking, not really much going on otherwise than that. But I mean, you like the character, you like the developments, and there you go. Read anything else? Oh yeah, all new Hawkeye. I like the story that's being told in this book, but it is so slow. Like they are taking so much time unraveling the story. And the way the book is done is that the top 3/4 of the page are set in modern day with the two Hawkeyes, Hawkeye Clint and Hawkeye Kate. The two Hawkeyes are doing this mission, and then the bottom is Clint and his brother after they've joined the circus, and they're working for the circus, and they're meeting the swordsman who you see here on the cover. And part of it, I guess, is because they're splitting up the space. Like it doesn't feel like any one part of the story gets a whole story told, which when you sit down with the graphic novel, at the end, the trade paperback, and you read through what'll be probably the first 6 issues collected together, that will probably be your one whole story. But this issue just feels like, they're in one spot and they travel to another spot and that's it. Not really a whole lot happens just because of the slow way that it's unfolding. The artwork's beautiful. The story is, the dialogue is good. The characterization is good. It's just, it just feels like it's taking forever to get anywhere and do anything. So I'm not as high on this title as I was when it first launched, just because it feels like we haven't really progressed much since that first issue. Not really a whole lot has happened. That's it.
I do love that cover.
Yeah, well, and that's the artwork of the flashback sequence that's set in the past where he meets the swordsman, has that painted watercolor type look to it, which sets it apart from what's going on the top of the page, which looks more like your classic comic book style art. So it's interesting. It's good to see the variations in the art styles with the different stories. It helps you to kind of, keep separate in your mind that these two different stories are going on at the same time. But, again, it's just taking forever to get anywhere. So that's it for me in Marvel.
Okay.
Did you read anything else?
So the Devil from Image. Brian Buccellato.
Actually, did you notice the Awesome Comics logo was on this book?
Oh, did it make it on there also?
Yeah, apparently this is some collaboration between Awesome Comics and Image.
Oh, yes, it is actually. I knew that. I knew it from Awesome, but I just figured since it was coming through Image, it was all Image. Yeah, friend of the show, Seek Donnelly sent it to me a couple months ago. So had to make sure I got that review out there for him. It's sort of like a horror story where our main character, Travis, we see a flashback sequence at the beginning of the book. I think back to like 1989 where a baby is getting taken and there's like a violent act during the process. And I'm assuming the baby that was taken was Travis. And he's kind of your everyday kind of guy. I like how they made sure the writer, Brian Buccellato, made sure to show how different his personality can get, where there's points where he's kind, where he sees a lost boy and he wants to help him find his parents or mother or whatever, but it also makes him late for work. So his boss is like screaming at him and he's trying to explain what happened, and then he like headbutts his boss and leaves. So he's got these like fits of rage in him. And I guess it all kind of ties back to, his family lineage somehow, and something with a cult. And then I guess he was adopted also, which I guess goes back to the being taken as a boy. So I guess it's a mini series. I guess as it unfolds, we'll slowly start to find out what ties he has to this cult. Because there's supposedly other people out there are similar to him, because I think they keep showing these people and they zoom in on their eyes, and it's like they've got different color eyes, like one eye's blue and the other one's like red or whatever. And I think Travis has that same type thing going on. So if you're into the horror books, or I think on the Image site, they say like if you're a fan of Orphan Black and some other, I guess, series I've never watched before, then you'll enjoy this. Oh, and there's a dog looking bloody baby.
Yeah, look in the blood, and the baby has the one red eye and the one blue eye.
Oh, okay, cool. I got it right.
So this is cover A. This was cover B, and then they had a cover C. That one.
Yep. So there you go. Did you get to the Rise of the Antichrist yet?
Oh, you know what? I did read those. And of course, I don't have them on. Those are on my desktop, which is dead at the moment. See if I can find the information on it real quick. I'll talk here while I try to find it. Well, actually, you talked to him also, didn't you?
Yes, but I haven't read it yet. I know we had talked about, we both wanted to talk about it and review it, but I will try to get my review out this weekend.
Here we go. The first one came out last week on Comixology. The second one came out this week. Let me screen share.
I'm about to say, I can at least pull up the author's name. I assume he's the author. Let's see. Let me find it. Email. Betvin Giat. Hopefully that's how you say his name.
Okay, so anyway, he's got 2 issues out. The second one just came out this week, and he was kind enough to send both of them over. And the story basically is this guy who grew up in a fundamentalist home, was a very strong believer, started to go crazy, hearing voices, seeing things, gets put into a mental institution. And as the voices and the visions are getting more intense, he starts losing this grip on reality, and he actually dies. In the second issue, he wakes up and he's in the morgue, and trying to figure out what's going on in his life. And since he has died and now been reborn, he believes that he may be the second coming of Christ. And a lot of his delusions have to do with the persecution of Christ and the death, and he knows all the history and everything. The thing is, though, that when he's dead, this mysterious figure comes to him who claims to be the devil and claims to own his soul, and says that he's going to send him back to Earth in order to do his bidding. And he says, no, I rebuke you. I will not do your evil, whatever. And he ends up coming back. So he's not sure exactly where he fits and what he's doing. And I really, I'm always a little concerned when I get into one of these stories, because these can be like really hokey. We've had so many movies over the last 10 years that were the exorcism of this, and very few of them turn out to be any good. And so, I was a little concerned to get into this series, but the artwork is actually really good. It's gory and horrific when it needs to be, but it also is very clean and tells the story when it needs to. There's a lot of symbolism and a lot of detail and research, so it looks like it's actually gone into the storyline of the Antichrist and who he is, and the evil that surrounds him, and his role in the second coming and all of that kind of stuff. So there actually is a lot of good time and research and development that's gone into it. The artwork is really good, and the story, at first you just think it's a story about this crazy guy, and I was going to be a little disappointed if that's what the story just ends as, where it's nothing more than this guy having these crazy hallucinations. To me, that's not really, you could tell a story, but that's not really compelling. But the fact that he actually dies and then comes back to life shows that there is some sort of supernatural element going on within his life. So it's more than just he's having delusions. There actually is something happening. He's actually been, he wakes up in the morgue. So he's actually been written off as dead. So there's more to him coming back than just the fact that, he passed out and then he woke up later and thought he died and came back. Like, he legitimately died and came back. So there is something more supernatural and disturbing that's going on with him. So I was, like I said, I was pretty skeptical going into it, but it actually turned around and turned into a compelling story once I started going through it. So I've enjoyed it. The first 2 issues, they're only, I think, 99 cents a piece on Comixology. It's 29 pages. It says it's the total page count. So for the 99 cents, you're getting, full comics of the story. And it's turned out to be more compelling than I expected. So I'm looking forward to seeing, where it goes in the future. I'm not sure how many issues it is, but it's, like I said, it's dark and disturbing where it needs to be, but it's also clean and tells the story when it needs to be. And a lot of books have a hard time finding that balance. They either want to be completely gory and completely graphic and completely disturbing, or it's just drawn like a regular comic and you just have to infer some of the horrible things that are going on. And this strikes a good balance between the two. So I'm planning on sticking with it. Like I said, he sent us the first 2, so if I want to read after this, it's up to me. But I think I'm going to stick with it and see where it goes from here. And your dogs are going crazy again.
Over nothing, I'm sure.
Did you ring the bell?
Nope. They've just been at the front door all night. Anyway, I guess that's a good ending spot besides getting to what our clicks of the weeks are.
Oh, we have the clicks for the other guys, don't we?
We do. Let's see. Roddy Cat said he forgot to mention All New Hawkeye 3 was quite good. Kate Bishop focused issue. Tweeted that out. But let's see, in the chat we have, let's see, Agent 70 said his click of the week is Iron Fist number 12.
There we go.
And that is also Roddy Cat's click of the week. So both of them loved Iron Fist.
And if either of those guys are listening right now, I'm sorry, I apologize. I cannot make those nifty click of the week logo images that I usually do because that's on my desktop, which is currently not functioning correctly.
All is forgiven.
Do you know what your click's going to be?
Like I said, this is like a so-so week to me. I'm gonna go with one of the DC Comics 8-page previews and go with Cyborg.
You can't do that. No, that doesn't count.
I can and I will. Damn it.
Yeah, this is tough to pick from because this week, I mean, there was a lot of stuff.
I totally forgot about the Attila and Rising. I read that too.
Is that your click of the week?
Actually, because the 8-page preview can't be a click of the week.
No, the 8-page preview cannot be.
Yeah, the book I did not speak on tonight, the Inhuman Attila and Rising. I enjoyed the art by dude's name I can't think of right now.
Is it Timms?
Yeah, I keep wanting to call him a different name.
John Timms and Roberto Poggi.
John Timms did a couple fill-in issues of Nova, which were nice, but it seemed like his art is even better here. Be quiet out there.
Yes, sir.
I don't have to go check on them soon. But yeah, so hopefully they're not fighting each other. Have my girlfriend's dog here with us also. She's out of town for the weekend, so this is the first night of her being gone. So her dog's been at the front door looking for her all night.
Well, also part of my problem is I haven't had a chance to read everything I wanted to this week because I very well might have picked Red 10, but I haven't had a chance to read through the whole thing because of everything else that's been going on the last couple of days.
And I've been playing catch up since I was on vacation, so I didn't get a chance to preview read as much as I would have liked.
Wow. I'm just gonna have to go with Old Man Logan, because of everything I read this week. It's one of the few where just the art was perfect for the story. The characters were good, like I remember, and it does have an entertaining twist to it that may have larger repercussions for the giant story that's being told otherwise. I might have picked Rise of the Antichrist, because it was good, but I think I'm gonna go with Old Man Logan, just nudging it out just a little bit more, just for the overall package of the art and the storyline and where this may be headed as the larger picture unfolds of what's happening in the Marvel Universe.
All right.
So, before your dogs eat up the rest of your house, why don't you do the final plugs and send us home?
I was about to just do that. Thanks for listening or watching live or on podcast form. Make sure to follow our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. Dirt is at PCN_Dirt and PopCultureNetwork.com. Agent 70 is at Agent_70 and RowdyCat is at RowdyCat and at News Nerds Need. Shout out to Matt Wang 797 for tweeting at us tonight and tuning into the show. We'll be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, to give you more comic book goodness that you enjoy and love. We are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off. This is where I hit the music. Not even sure if that's what he does at the end of the shows or not, but we are signing off.